Welcome, one and all of the gaming community. This is the DLOpinions podcast for July the 14th of 2013. My name is Adam Gate, and oh dear Lord, we have a lot of things to talk about that have to do with Microsoft still. But at least I can talk about the Steam sale for a couple of seconds. So there's that. Great, I'm coughing after 30 seconds. This is a good sign. So far the Steam summer sale has been absolutely amazing. I've been able to somehow, I don't know how, but I've managed to hold myself back and only buy just a couple hundred things. I only managed to actually buy a couple things, which is surprising to me because I figured, okay, everything's going to have a huge price on it. I'm probably going to buy, 5 to 10 things in the first day and completely screw myself over. And somehow that hasn't happened. So I still have money, and I'm not out on the street because of having to buy every single game known demand. So that's a good sign. But anyway, there's a lot going on. Like I said, with the Xbox, I'm not exactly excited to talk about it, but we're going to have to get to that as much as I hate it. But first, as always, we do have to go to this.
Taking the less relevant stories and getting them right out of the way. Don't worry, we'll get to the good stuff soon enough. This is Quick Hits.
Alright, so at EVO this year, Capcom announced that they are releasing a new quote-unquote Street Fighter, although it sounds more like it's just going to be an updated Street Fighter 4, because they apparently can't stop updating Street Fighter games instead of just making another one. It's supposed to debut next year, and it will be $40 unless you already have any copy of Street Fighter 4, which you can update it for $15. I'm not sure the whole changes that are coming to it, but the notable stuff is that there are 5 characters being added to it. Poison, Hugo, Rolento, Elena, and apparently one character who they say has never been in a Street Fighter game before. I'm not a big Street Fighter fan myself, but, considering it's a new character, I'm sure a lot of people are going, oh, this is interesting. But the fact that it says somebody who's never been in Street Fighter before, it means it has to be somebody established. So you wonder if it's going to be a character from another series, who knows? It's an interesting concept, and, I guess we'll just find out if that's not locked on a disc or anything, right? The Rabbids Invasion TV show, if you guys remember seeing that at E3, it is going to debut on Nickelodeon on the 3rd of August at 11:30 p.m., or 11:30 a.m., sorry, that's a Saturday. And I might end up watching that just because I've always loved the Rabbids, just because it's that kind of stupid, crazy kind of deal that just works for me. So it's probably something I'll end up watching the first episode of and then being like, okay, this is kind of dumb and this is for kids. But it always does give me a laugh, and I can't help but have a little bit of a smile every time you see them scream. So that's interesting. I believe last week we talked about Ubisoft getting hacked, and now Konami has been hit in a cyber attack as well, and about 35,000 accounts on their site has been accessed. So apparently somebody just really wants to see how many game companies they can hit in during the summer. Why not try Microsoft? I'm sure you can find out some other stuff about, that would be ironic actually, all this spying that they're doing on us, and we could do something like that. That's not a, foreshadowing any topics I'm about to do later. No. Okay, anyway. I keep coming back to this game because and it's finally done. We announced a while back that State of Decay was not going to be given a release in Australia because of, painkillers and shit. Then we announced that they are going to, or reported now. I announced this like I'm actually the one that does it. We reported that they were going to change painkillers to supplements like vitamins and shit. And now it has officially been given the 18+ rating, so it will now actually have a release in Australia. Congratulations, Aussies. It only took something as simple as pills being switched to vitamins. Clearly, you guys are so objective. Speaking of people really keeping things and banning them out, China could actually overturn their 13-year console ban. So, since 2000, they've had no consoles allowed in China, which is insane when you think about it. The only catch is that they have to manufacture their products in Shanghai's brand new free trade zone, which I'm surprised isn't already done. Anyway, the Xbox beta came out, and apparently that gave people, particularly in the UK, because the prices got changed from Microsoft points to real money. Apparently, for some people, the prices were actually being raised instead of being out. And people are a little pissed off about that, so Microsoft will be reimbursing them. Sony has announced that your PlayStation 4 library, I'm assuming that would mean any downloadable games that you have, or DLC content or that kind of stuff, will be accessible on any console as long as you are the user logged in, which is interesting in itself. But I'm pretty sure it would mean you have to re-download it on the console, and I'm hoping too that I'm assuming that would mean that you could download it onto that console, but it still has to be signed in your name in order to be accessible, which is interesting. I don't know how that's going to work. I'm pretty sure somebody will take advantage of that. And last but not least, Shigeru Miyamoto has teased a new Wii U franchise. And it's funny how I've been saying this for a while, like Nintendo needs to make something new, and I think we said that on the Chatbox podcast a couple weeks ago. So it sounds like they finally got off their ass and they're gonna, make a gamble that isn't with Mario or Link on the cover of it. Now, releases on the 16th is pretty much the majority of all the releases. We have Shin Megami Tensei 4 for the 3DS, which I'm probably gonna have to get, but then again, I still gotta get Project X Zone. And I get the feeling the Steam sale is going to keep me away from my 3DS for a little while longer. Dynasty Warriors 8 is coming out for the 360 and the PlayStation 3, because apparently people still play that series, even though it's the same game every time. Time and Eternity, the JRPG for the PlayStation 3, will be out on the 16th. RIPD, the game for the 360, PlayStation 3, and PC. Turbo, Super Stunt Squad, that snail movie thing, whatever, it's going to be a crap game, we all know that. 360, PlayStation 3, Wii U, Wii, 3DS, and DS. I didn't realize those consoles existed anymore. I thought they ignored them. The Serious Sam collection will come out for the PC, which includes 4 games. I believe it's First Encounter. First Encounter, second, whatever. It's 4 games. I'm taking a brain fart, guys. Leave me alone. Mystic Chronicles for the Vita, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right in Japanese. I am sorry. Mamoru-kun Curse for the PlayStation 3. And on the 18th, it is just 2 quick games, Face Noir for the PC and Robot Rescue 3D for the 3DS. Exciting. Not as exciting as the Steam sale, though, so ignoring that. So, like I said, foreshadowing. We're going to talk about 2 subjects with Microsoft. One of them, and the first one we'll go after, is the NSA. We will also talk about fans petitioning to reverse the Xbox One policy changes. That I'm going to spend more time at. That's why it'll be at the end. So first we'll go on with the Microsoft being linked to the NSA. Now, the whole story, for those of you that somehow haven't heard this, it was revealed from a whistleblower, Edward Snowden, that there is something that pretty much any logical person would have known at this point. There is a company, government-run agency, I should say, that pretty much spies on people within the United States. So you're telling me that the government is trying to spy and get every possible little bit of information out of us? The same government of a country that flips out at every tiny little terrorist threat ever since 9/11, which admittedly was a terrible tragedy, but have flipped out over every tiny little thing, mainly because they go and try to change the world to what they think it should be and pisses everybody off. Not that anybody else knows that. So you're telling me that a government-run agency from the United States of America is trying to spy on their citizens to see if they can point out terrorist threats or whatever else? You make it sound like this doesn't happen in every country in the entire world that has any possible way of accessing stuff through the internet, which is pretty much at this point every single fucking country. Like, I'm Canadian. I know that I'm being spied on in one way or another. It just basically took this report with the NSA to kind of bring it to the forefront and make people think about it. You'd have to be an idiot to think that your government is not doing anything it can to see what they can figure out about every single person that either is or is not voting for them, and what threat they could pose. Considering we live in an age where apparently everybody wants to blow up each other again. Apparently we're all wanting just to fight each other again. I guess we didn't get enough wars through the 90s. I don't get how people act so surprised every time this story keeps coming up and adding more into it. You sound like this, like you can't believe this exists, when quite frankly it's probably existed since the internet really started going into the forefront. So when Microsoft has been linked to allowing the NSA the ability to look through stuff like Outlook.com, Hotmail, SkyDrive, Skype, including taking video and audio from Skype, again, you'd have to be retarded to not think that anybody is doing that. Microsoft can't really do anything about it. They've stated, like, we have given stuff to the government because, by law, we have to. Like, do you really think, like, Microsoft would have a choice in the matter? You make it sound like Microsoft is, like, a company within the NSA trying to get everything else. Like, they don't need a government-run agency to do that. They have access to everything. I'm sure they are spying on certain trends in the customer so they can figure out stuff, although the Xbox doesn't seem to be one of them. But again, don't act shocked that these connections are being made. Microsoft owns arguably the biggest collection of software that encounters any information that gets any information that gets sent around the internet. So, I mean, considering they have Hotmail, Outlook, and Skype, though, that alone should be enough to tell you, okay, that's a lot of data right there. Like, it's mind-boggling to me that people are making such a big deal out of this, because it's really nothing that you shouldn't be already expecting. And to be honest, like, I feel like this is something I'm supposed to be mad at, and I don't care. It's like, I can't do anything about it. What am I going to do? Like, you have no power over this. You really, really can't do much against this. Because even if there's some sort of legislation that gets put in that could prevent this kind of thing from happening, do you really think your government's going to adhere to that? Given here in Canada especially, where our government from all levels of government are going absolutely apeshit and scandal and shit, you really think your government is not going to break the rules that they think they set? They break the rules constantly, and it will not change a fucking bit. And they will do whatever they can, whether legal or not, to get as much information as they possibly can about every single citizen that lives within their borders. And there's not a damn thing we can do. There really isn't. You can put up as many unless you're a master hacker and you might be able to find some sort of firewall to put up against this crap, you're not going to be able to do it. The average Joe is not going to be able to protect themselves from the NSA, from companies who are able to go through the internet like this. So don't act shocked, and quite frankly, like, don't act offended. Like, there's really, like, no reason to think that this hasn't been happening for the longest time. The only people that are offended are the ones that were blind and stupid enough to believe that this didn't exist. So, sorry to burst your bubble. But the government will always do this, whether we tell them to or not. And whether legislation gets brought in, they will still continue to do it. And there really isn't a damn thing you can do about it, because unless you are the President of the United States, the Prime Minister of Canada, or whatever else, you have no control. You have absolutely no control. And that's an unfortunate reality of democracy. And given how shady politics truly is, this is nothing new. And nothing anybody should be surprised of. But because we are all, quite frankly, too occupied, we're way too busy in our own daily lives to really think about this stuff. So when reports like this come out, we seem to be shocked by it. But the reality is there's nothing to be shocked about, because it's nothing that really is surprising at all. And the fact that Microsoft is part of this doesn't surprise me, and it doesn't tick me off in any way either. Because, it's an inevitability, and it's something that really we have no control of. And I'd argue saying that even Microsoft has no control over this. Because by law, if the government tells them that you need to give us this stuff, you have to. And even if it's illegal stuff, do you really think Microsoft, who probably does its own shady bits of business too, really wants to fuck with the government? No, they don't. So this isn't going to change. Don't be shocked by this, and just relax. If you're not doing anything wrong, relax. Like, all these reports came out of all of like them accessing anything and everything, and I'm sitting here thinking, okay, clearly I'm hiding all my plots to go blow up the CN Tower and Queen's Park, and I'm gonna go drive a train into whatever. I have nothing to hide, so it means jack shit to me that any information is being taken out of me, because at the end of it, especially with me too, because even if it's companies like trying to find trends and stuff, they're not going to find it with me because I'm so far against the trends of everything that it really, any information they get from me is going to be made useless to them anyway. So, I don't care. And quite frankly, until this story came out, I already swept the NSA stuff under the rug. Because it means nothing to me. Because I'm not surprised by it. Because any logical person would know that the government is spying on you, whether you think they are or not, and whether you like it or not. It's just inevitable, and it will continue to be like this. So, moving on to the part that's actually going to start getting me a little angry, and is an issue that I am kind of pissed off and offended by. So, when Xbox did the 180, the original plan was that it was going to be locked. You would have to install the games in order to play them. You would only be able to do it once. And all this other stuff. But the one thing that people were somewhat impressed by was that you could share content through your console with family members. So anybody could access any content that you have on that same console. And now that the 180 came and put things back to the way it is now, everybody's flipping out. Apparently, because there are fans petitioning to get Microsoft to reverse it and put it back to the way things were. Okay. This is not going to be very, very nice. This is not going to be pleasant. This is not going to be sugar-coated. But this will be completely sincere and honest and whatever other adjective you want to put in there. To anybody who thinks that the policies for the Xbox One should be reversed to what they were initially before the 180, you are fucking delusional, an idiot, and quite frankly, have no idea what the fuck a console should be. You are basically saying that it's a good idea for Microsoft to go back to the point that you could not share any games, that you had to have an internet connection at all times, that you had to basically sell your fucking soul to Microsoft. All because you want your family sharing back. Here's my question to you. Do you have a problem with the way things are in the 360 right now? And if you do, tough. And if you don't, then why the hell are you bitching about the Xbox One pretty much being back to the way things were with the 360? How there's really, for the most part, no change in the way things are going to be running in terms of the DRM, in terms of sharing, in terms of anything else. It will be pretty much the same. Why is anybody making a fuss about this? Why are they making a fuss about this? Are they out of their fucking mind? The Xbox One, the original policies to the Xbox One got such a fucking shitstorm when it got announced and when it got detailed. As it went further and further, more and more people flipped their shit, including me, because I refuse to be used by a company who thinks that we're the reason that companies do not make money in terms of the money they want to make. We were not responsible, and we were told that we are actually the ones that will have to cover the pay. We will have to cover the bill for companies over budgeting, and for companies, quite frankly, just making shit games. But apparently, family sharing solves that problem. Apparently, family sharing was going to make everything all better. It wouldn't matter that we wouldn't be able to share our games, that used games would require a fee. You would have to pay money to just play a game that you got a deal on because you cannot afford $60 every time a game comes out. Do you understand how ludicrous and idiotic that sounds? That because you really want your family sharing, that you think it's all right to go to the policies that every other self-respecting gamer said fuck no to. You're out of your mind. You're out of your goddamn mind. I have no intention of ever letting Microsoft go back to what they planned on. You have absolutely no place to make a ludicrous idea like that. I understand that the family sharing was going to be an okay idea. It was not a bad idea at all. However, when you take everything else that policy had, there is no comparison and absolutely no way whatsoever that the majority of the gaming population would say yes to that. The reason that Microsoft did this 180 was because they were going to make no money, and PS4 was going to outsell them by the boatload. That policy was reversed because they knew they fucked up, and they fucked up big. And they knew that they would be fucked for the entire generation of that console. Because everybody, I guarantee you, would be on PS4. The only people that would be on Xbox One are the same guys who blindly follow any person, company, whatever else, any product, no matter how bad things are in the press. That's a rant I gotta get to as well. I forgot about that. I'm gonna have to talk about Justin Bieber fans. Stay tuned to that on the DLOpinions channel. I'm sure I'll have that one up soon. But, man. There are a lot of stupid things that I've heard since the Xbox One was announced. This is one of the ones that really, really starts burning me. It's driving me to the point that I'm not even putting up a clear sentence anymore. I don't understand this at all. I really, really don't. Family sharing is an okay idea, but it's not worth on the online DRM that would basically screw you in the ass every day, all day. I don't get where somebody thinks that that plan was okay as long as family sharing was in it. It makes absolutely no sense. I have to think that the only people that are petitioning for this are parents of these little kids that really couldn't care less, you know? I'm pretty sure that any real, and I mean this seriously, real gamer has no intention of wanting that policy to switch back to what it was. I can almost guarantee that. Because any real gamer understands that we like used games. We like being able to share our games with friends. And why, for God's sakes, would we want that to go away? That's why we were pissed. The things that we have had all this time were all of a sudden going to be taken away from us? No. Hell no. That wasn't going to happen. And we made our voices heard, and that's why the 180 happened. So I'm sorry to people who are crying over the fact that the original policy was taken away, the family sharing and whatever else. I'm sorry. But this was not acceptable. That plan was not acceptable. Not by any means. And we fought our asses off to get rid of it. And if you are one in the very, very few who think that that was a bad thing, I got some news for you. Don't play the Xbox One then, because you really don't deserve it if you think that what they wanted to do initially was okay. You don't deserve the privilege of being able to play on a game console. Take your 360 and smash it, honestly. You're an idiot. I'm sorry to say this, but you're an idiot. This plan was unacceptable. We fought it, and we won. And it's not going to change. The best part, too, is Microsoft's even admitting, oh, we really, it's really our fault because we seem to have a lot of problem communicating with our community. Bullshit. You guys, it has nothing to do with communication. You guys know what you were supposed to do. You were being pushed by developers to make something that would help them make more money and give GameStop less. That was what it was. There was no communication issue at all. You read, listened, and took whatever information that we gave you guys, and what that information had was what you needed to make a good console. What you did with that information is you took it and flushed it down the fucking toilet. There was no communication issue. You just did not use that communication. So if you want to say that, oh, we need to learn to communicate with your members, you mean you need to keep the stuff that we give you. We've given you the best information you could possibly have, and you basically told us to go fuck ourselves, that we didn't know anything about the gaming industry. We're only the people that give you money. We're only the people that line your pockets with money. We write your fucking paychecks. Of course we don't know nothing. Of course. What would we know? We're the ones that use the product on a consistent basis. So, if you want to keep insulting us like that, go ahead. You're not going to divert me off the PS4 no matter what the hell you do anyway, so just keep insulting me. I don't care. It's no skin off my back. It's now, because I'm not pissed at Microsoft. Like I said with the NSA, I'm not mad at Microsoft anymore. I can't be mad at Microsoft anymore. I've literally put all the frustration I possibly can out at them. It is now being diverted to the people who are stupid enough to think that even if a bunch of them got a petition through, you really think Microsoft's going to change it? They have so much bad press on them that, and especially with the NSA now, they have way too much bad press to make another stupid move like a 180 of the 180. You'd have to be insane to think that any sort of petition would make them change their mind. Again. They're not going to go through the PR nightmare one more time. They just aren't. So, sorry, but you're going to have to live with this. And unfortunately, that's what the Xbox One is going to come out as. And if you're going to buy it, then buy it. If you're not going to, then don't fucking buy it. I keep saying this over and over again. Petitions in this industry do not do very much. If you want change, you vote with your wallet. If you want a game to really flourish, you buy it. If you want what a game has done that you don't agree with, that has ruined what they've had, like Tomb Raider got the best vote possible. The last few games made so less money that eventually the series pretty much died. And then it got taken over by somebody else. They revived it and made it great. And they still bitch that they didn't make the money they wanted to on it, but that's their fault because they over budgeted. But you have to understand that if you want to get a major corporation's attention, if you want to get them to make a change, you have to take money from them. And it goes the other way around. Like I said, if you want something to succeed, you buy it. Think of a game like the Shin Megami Tensei series is a huge deal. It's a series that, quite frankly, I look at and every time and I wonder, how the hell is this series alive? It's because, especially in Japan, they go nuts for it and buy it up the ass. And here it's the same thing. They've gotten such good reviews and such great praise that it sold enough to the point that Atlas looks at it and says, "You know what? They seem to really like it down here. Let's keep this going." They brought up Persona 4 Arena. It sounds like, well, we already know they're making a fifth Persona, and it sounds even now. Oh, I forgot to add that into the quick hits, but they have somebody's registered a domain for Persona 5 now. So, um, but it's stuff like that. If you spend if enough people buy the game that they think is good, then enough will get made. Some people complain all the time that, why is this game getting a sequel? Why is this game like still going? Because people keep buying it. And I keep saying, like, with Modern Warfare especially being the one that's so critically acclaimed, or EA Sports titles, they never change. And I'm going to finally do it when I'm not going to buy NHL 14. I'm not buying any more EA Sports games. That's how I'm going to vote on getting change in that industry, in that series of games. I'm not going to buy them. It's the same deal with Call of Duty. Everybody keeps complaining, oh, Modern Warfare is just the same thing every year. Then don't fucking buy it and they won't make it anymore. That's how it is. When you buy a game, that's one more point up to them to go, okay, well, somebody likes this. And then if that one turns into millions, they'll be like, holy shit, they really like this. Okay, we got to keep this going. Let's get another one out. Especially, like, think about how Rock Band and Guitar Hero got completely killed. They sold so well, especially because, the peripherals and everything else, it was such a huge boatload of money. And when every single person was trying to get these things, they were, especially Activision, because Activision is Activision, they went, oh my God, like, people are buying this like crazy. Okay, let's get another game out. And then that one will sell amazingly well. They're like, oh shit, let's get another one out this year. And then, you'd see like 3 Guitar Hero games a year. That's why the music genre died. That's why Rocksmith is the only one left, is because Rocksmith waits in between and releases, like, they've only released this, they're only starting to put out their new one. And think about that, like, can you imagine like Guitar Hero only releasing a game every 3 years? Like, that would drive people nuts when that was in a heyday. That's how it happens. People got so sick of it that they just stopped buying them. And then at that point, pretty much, I argue that Rock Band 3 really killed it, because I never got it. And Guitar Hero, which one am I thinking of then? Well, World Tour or On Tour, whichever. No, On Tour was the DS. World Tour was probably the last big one. And then because they kept releasing the ones that have certain bands, or all the genre-based ones, like, Rock Band didn't do such a bad job at it. I mean, with the Beatles one and whatever else, but, or I think, yeah, they did a Green Day one. That told me right there. Like, Green Day, really, no offense to Green Day, but Green Day has no challenge to it, so making a game just about that was like, ugh. But that's just how it is. The music genre died because it got so oversaturated and overdone that people just said, screw this, I'm not buying it anymore, and that sent those companies out. And now Harmonix is doing other stuff, and thankfully they're doing good stuff again, so good for them. With anything, you want to change, you straight up go with your wallet. A petition's, I'm sorry to tell you guys, but a petition's not going to do anything. Especially because Xbox has, at this point, they have to commit to what they've done now. Because if they don't, they're fucked. They're absolutely fucked. Nobody will take them seriously. So, I'm sorry, but you're stuck with this. And if you don't like that, like I said, vote with your wallet. Just don't buy the Xbox One. But I know you're going to anyway, because your child's going to cry for it. Or if you're just a regular gamer, you're going to clamor for it too much and you're going to get sucked into it. I'm not buying an Xbox One, and I will go on record. Unless I win the lottery or get a large sum of money that I can afford 2 consoles, I won't get an Xbox One. I will get a PS4, and I will not stray off that. So that's that. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that there are people sad that family sharing's gone. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sure it was going to be a great feature. But it was part of a cause we did not want. Us gamers did not want that, and we were not going to accept that. So, That's going to be in. That was a long time for me to talk straight and try not to flubber my words, which I do constantly anyway. But this is going to be the end of the podcast, so I'll quickly get the plugs out. You can like us on Facebook at DLOpinions. DLOpinions is the Twitter and YouTube account, although you should already know that by now. CS Radical is our other YouTube account for all our gaming stuff. Lately, I'm gonna have the entire Walking Dead 400 Days out. I am doing some Game Dev Tycoon. I just finished recording a bunch of GTA 4 with a bunch of guys from the Critical Strike community. I keep forgetting to plug that. That's something I need to plug. If you guys are an Xbox 360 user and you play certain games online, and you want a bunch of people to play with, check us out. CriticalStrike.forumotion. That's FORUMOTION.com. We play a bunch of games. Predominantly, our games are NHL 13. As much as we hate going through it, and Call of Duty. Some people play Battlefield. Some people play Halo. Basically, the idea is we're not a clan. We're just a community that tries to get together and play games for the fun of playing games. Because apparently, video games are supposed to be fun. I think people forgot about that. Okay, anyway, DLOpinions.com for the main site, although I need to start actually using that again. So I'm being bad and not doing it. And if you want to ask us questions, or if you just want to give us some comments and stuff, if you're not doing it on the YouTube videos already, you can... I lost my train of thought. No, there we go. I'm really losing it today. It's 3 a.m. Give me a fucking break here. You can email us at askdlopinions@gmail.com or tweet askdlopinions over Twitter. And that also includes, because we do have the Chatbox podcast, if you're ever interested as a fan or as just, a gamer yourself, the Chatbox podcast is limited to, or not limited, it's open to anyone who's interested in talking. So if you're interested in that, we just do this stuff over Skype. Send me an email through askdlopinions@gmail.com, and, we can probably get you on there. You'll be subjected to a lot of ridicule and probably get kicked off at any moment if you do something we don't agree with, because, we're taking random people and there's always a risk that somebody's just going to use it to screw around with. But, and also we don't do them live. We do it it's recorded and done in post. So even if you try anything, it's not going to get made. So whatever. Yeah, I think that's everything. Yep, that is everything. So thanks for listening, guys. And I will see you next week, maybe, because I might be busy with Steam games. God, I hate you, Valve. Why do you have to make me spend so much money? See you later.